I know. Because I'm famous.
You're the star of the show.
I know.
I just said my...
I feel like my entire, like, nasal tract is struggling because I really started tearing up when that was in my eye.
Yeah, you really kind of had, like, an exorcism going on in your eye
I just
recently.
feel like I'm going to snort my boogers, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of...
So just cut that out.
It's kind of gross, but that's okay. I love it. There you go. But... chilling out.
Are we starting?
Gonna get this shit. I always just start randomly talking and then introduce shit, but we can just...
Hi, I'm Emma.
We can just start it off right off the bat with welcome back to episode 33, lucky number 33 of the Mackin Show.
Woo!
Woo! Claps that I don't know how to put in yet. Let's go. And I'm joined by my beautiful, lovely, awesome at everything girlfriend, Miss Emma Graham.
Hi.
That I haven't had on yet.
I've been your hardest guest.
She's been my hardest guest, literally harder than anyone else I've wanted on here.
I don't like that I can't look at you and I have to look there.
You could do both.
Okay.
But just like say if you want to make a point or whatnot, then like I'd look at that one or that one. But
so you
can,
want some like office vibes.
Obviously. But then you can like obviously look at me.
Okay.
Obviously. You can look anywhere you want. But no, we finally got Miss Emma Graham, love of my life, on the Mackin Show. And she's been my hardest guest to get so far. I've asked her probably no less than 50 times to come on. She said no every single one of them. Or she like asked for like preposterous things, like make sure that this is like we want like
that's not
stuff
true.
should be ready. Do you have stuff to interview me on? Blah blah blah. I'm like, does this look like it's an organized thing going on?
No, that's not true. All I wanted to know was what are we talking about?
And I never know. Like it had
like
to be set
when
for
you
her.
Want it to be.
Anytime.
You literally asked me day of when I'm like in sweatpants, have no makeup on,
I don't got
look
makeup
like
on.
shit. Yeah,
like
actually my
shit.
makeup turned out so bad today.
I don't think it did.
I fully look orange.
You did say you looked orange, but I don't think you look too orange.
And my lips are bright pink for no reason.
Your lips are pretty pink. I'm not gonna lie.
It's
I'm
like
gonna let you know
embarrassing.
that, but I don't think you look orange.
I
But
feel like I'm giving like 7th grade girl did her makeup vibes, but that's okay.
yeah, probably. I give 7th grade boy who just still has never done his makeup vibes and is back into his hat era. I'm back into my hat era just
Thank
for
God.
this podcast. I don't think has ever seen me with a hat on. And
that forehead was going crazy.
Forehead's not too bad, honestly. But regardless, we're back. And this podcast actually is sponsored by Stella Blue Coffee. Shout out to Big Cat. Shout out to everyone on the Stella Blue team. And this hat was to mark that we are now sponsored. Shout out to Stella, Big Cat's dog. I know you don't know who Big Cat is, but
I know who Big Cat is.
Fuck yeah. Sam.
He's part of my take.
He is part of my take. Good shit.
He's like the big guy
Cat.
with dark hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is the big dude with dark hair.
He's the one that when we were watching the games, the Barstool games, the one guy that got famous for being so mad, Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
No, that's Jersey Jerry.
No. But Big Cat's the guy that like roots for him.
Big Cat is,
okay.
That's,
I know who you're talking about.
Jersey Jerry is his guy. Shout out Jersey Jerry too. But no, Stella Blue is sponsoring this podcast. We pick a different sponsor that's obviously not sponsoring us every podcast. And I would like it to be Stella Blue because obviously big part of my take fan, big Cat fan.
If you could have any company in the world sponsor your podcast, what would it be?
I'm going to go with 2 answers here.
No one.
No, 2.
No one.
I'm going to go with 2 for 2 different reasons. One of them would be because it would just be nonstop bankroll and I'd have awesome equipment. I'd probably love for Apple to sponsor this podcast. That'd be a $1 trillion company, would be sick. But the one that I would like would obviously be Cactus Jack.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like, put some merch in here. They would have sick artwork. We would just be having a blast. But for 2, those are why 2 different reasons. Like, if I'd want like an endless supply of money basically coming in, shout out Apple or Nike. But no, Cactus Jack for like my actual vibes. If you had to have one company sponsor your life.
Okay, here's my thing. I always say like I would love to be like a micro influencer. I don't want to be like a big influencer.
Respect.
I feel like that's so much pressure and so scary. But like a micro influencer just to get like free shit.
Yeah.
So
that'd be sick.
like small clothing companies like Princess Polly does like random fucking
like Pretty Little Thing and all those.
No, Pretty Little Thing is like
they do bigger.
No, they're just like cheap.
You heard it here
but
first.
so is Princess. Just one day. Manifesting.
Manifest everything,
I would want
honestly.
a clothing company because I spend most of my money on clothes.
How about this? Say
that
if you did randomly reach big influencer set, whatever, and you don't have to, even though you like these brands, I'm not saying you're settling for them, but a big-ass company to sponsor your life, what would it be? That means you endorse the shit out of them. They pay you good money. You get free stuff from them.
Like Starbucks.
There you go. That would probably be my third pick.
I know they're like canceled right now, aren't they?
I don't give a fuck if they're canceled. I'm still going to drink Starbucks.
I think that would just be like a full circle moment for me.
Yeah. I mean, Starbucks technically, like, again, by the measures I just did, Starbucks has sponsored like 3 of our episodes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like they've sponsored. Because I'm pretty sure.
I'm actually going to grab my Starbucks.
Do it up. I'm pretty sure the sponsors to this podcast so far have been Starbucks, Voss Water, Stella Blue. I'm trying to think like what other is whatever product I have at Stanley. I think has when I had my Stanley.
What other company I would like endorse the fuck out of?
What's that?
McDonald's.
Yeah. Chipotle shit, but Chipotle's been making me sad, and it makes more sense now. Because I didn't know that
some of their bowls are dog shit.
No, I just didn't know that this occurred, but everyone obviously has been like, oh, like Chipotle's like stuff, it's been going down, like their quality of their shit. And like, I haven't noticed it a lot, but I've been oh yeah, you guys are kind of right. And I didn't even know that
dramatically
the Taco Bell CEO is now the CEO of Chipotle.
Yeah, I saw that. But that makes so much sense. Like what we used to eat, or I used to eat Chipotle at least 3 times a week because you ate it 7 days a week.
Fact, shout out Chipotle.
And then one day I couldn't do it anymore.
Respect.
And it was around the time
that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Chipotle, the thing that'll throw me off, so I'll never get old of it. If I get a bowl or burrito, whatever, like it'd have to be 2 or 3 times in a row where I get pieces of like chewy chicken.
Yeah, that kept happening to me. It's so gross.
But say if like I go to Chipotle and like on a random Tuesday I get a piece of chewy chicken, like all right, if I go back on Wednesday and it's normal, I'm like cool. One day is not going to throw me off. But I don't play around when it comes to chicken. Like other meats I've learned you're actually like it's not. I learned this randomly from a cooking thing that this podcast knows I've not been the biggest fan of like raw foods, like whether it is like undercooked this, fucking runny eggs, sushi.
Yeah, runny eggs are so fucking gross.
Sushi, shit like that I've never been the biggest fan of. But then once we started being in this life, kind of work-wise and shit like that, the first time I ever did it was when I went to a Poker tournament. And what?
Did what?
They had this one like steak thing, and it was just called seared steak. And I'm like, okay, like I don't, whatever. I ate it and it was fucking delicious. And I was like, oh, what makes it seared? They're like, oh, they literally only cook the outside of it for like 5 seconds. But isn't it like on super hot? Well, super hot. But then I realized with foods is that 100% of the bacteria in beef is on the outside of it. So like you don't actually have to cook it all the way through.
We learned this in 6th grade in home ec. But
chicken is on the inside. So you have to like, and that's when I felt a little better about it. And I was like, I've never been like I need my shit well done. I've usually always been like medium rare, but
raw chicken is
even anything like it needs to be the perfectly cooked. Even sometimes like today, I had my Chipotle bowl and there was like a good 5 or 6 pieces that like the outside of the chicken that I ate was like clearly like burnt.
Yeah.
I was fine with that.
Yeah, I love that.
Take that. It was like somewhat whereas almost.
I'd rather burn my chicken than have it undercooked. Yeah. Obvi.
Like it was a little, you could taste the burnt end where I was like, but I was like, I'm very much okay with that because that just means that shit's cooked all the way through. But you're a big McDonald's lover.
I love McDonald's.
You are huge.
I could eat a McChicken every day of my life. Yeah. And I just choose not to, but once I do get started, like I'll crave it all the time.
I can't do McDonald's anymore.
But the thing is, like, I don't get out of control when I'm ordering it. It's just how many times I could eat it in a week.
That's where we differ. Because the reason I can't eat McDonald's is because, I think I've said on this podcast before, but at the height of my McDonald's eating.
You were fat as
super fat. My McDonald's order was a large Big Mac meal. So that's a Big Mac, a large fry, and a large unsweetened iced tea.
That's already gross.
2 triple cheeseburgers, and a McChicken. And then, God forbid, if like that was the usual. If I was starving, maybe a 4-piece.
My usual at McDonald's is a McChicken, a medium fry, and a medium Diet Coke. Or, if I'm feeling crazy, I'll do chicken nuggets instead of a McChicken with sweet and sour sauce only.
Yeah, that's like me with everything. My Taco Bell was Crunchwrap Supreme, 2 cheesy gordita crunches, possible beefy 5-layer burrito, and then possibly one other thing. Yeah, there's no...
Like, I'll just get a chicken or like a cheese quesadilla and be fine.
Never. I could never order one thing from a... Because I just get... Because that's what I've always said this about... I've always said this about certain fast food places, that you can tell me they're unhealthy. You cannot tell me they're not good.
Where would you put Wendy's on a scale of 1 to 10?
Like a 7.
Okay.
7 or low 8.
10 being the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a bit... Like, don't get me wrong. I rarely ever get Wendy's, but I've also rarely ever gotten a bad Wendy's meal.
I agree.
Like, it's always been... They're not chicken McNuggets, but I like their nuggets. They're not a Big Mac, but I like their burger. Their fries go hard. I'm not going to lie. Wendy's fries
their baked potatoes fire.
I've never actually had it.
You should get it.
But no, Wendy's is... And obviously, they have a Frosty. But no, I can never talk down to Wendy's. Burger King's like a 2.
Hear me out. Wendy's Frosty, McDonald's fries.
Oh, choose between the 2?
No.
Oh, okay.
Together.
I was going to be like McDonald's fries.
You know how they put
what?
the Wendy's fries in, like, did you ever do that? Imagine if it was McDonald's fries.
And that's not... Well, Wendy's was the first one ever that... And obviously, people started biting their styles afterwards that decided, like, oh, we're actually going to be American and take care of our American people and give you guys a 4 for $4. Like, every other company was like, oh, like, we'll do a deal. Wendy's was like, no. We're going to give you 4 items off the menu for $4 and something cents. And in high school, that's when... I think it came out when we were freshmen, maybe? Freshman or sophomore?
I was definitely in high school because there was a Wendy's across the street from my high school.
And I just remember, like, holy shit, this is changing the game.
I agree.
And so, no, Wendy's is a vibe. I'm trying to think of, like, what other... Obviously, Chick-fil-A is goated.
Yes. Oh, I've been craving Cane's lately.
Want to get that for dinner tonight?
No, because I have to make the stuff tonight.
I can tell by your facial expression that we could just not make it tonight and we could just throw it out.
No, because I want it.
So let's make it tomorrow night.
Okay.
How about that? We'll figure it out. I'm not 100% sure yet either. Just like the whole... Just
like, I feel like I went on a walk this morning. That's all.
Yeah, just a chicken cutlet with mashed potatoes and green beans. It sounds...
Not green beans, salad.
True. The salad is the only part of that meal I'm actually kind of like, woo.
What the fuck is wrong with you? You don't like chicken cutlets and mashed potatoes?
That's
like my dream meal.
That's a trash dream meal. Chicken cutlet and mashed breaded chicken.
Breaded chicken is fire.
Oh, breaded chicken is the best way to make chicken.
Chicken cutlet? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but a chicken cutlet is good when you either are putting that chicken cutlet on like a chicken parm or something, like just some breaded chicken by itself. Like, come on now, it needs sauce.
You grew up Irish, and I can tell.
Yeah, I just named it Italian food, and that means I grew up Irish.
Yeah, chicken cutlets are Italian.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, like, more Italian than that.
Whatever.
Is with some mozzarella.
Next time, mozzarella.
And sauce.
Next time, why don't you pick out the meals and you make them?
Bet.
That's not Gigi Hadid pasta.
No, I'm gonna make Gigi Hadid pasta, burgers, tacos. It's gonna be good.
That makes me want to gouge my eyeballs out. Okay, next topic.
Next topic is I was very sad today.
I was also very sad today.
So obviously everyone knows, and I was gonna talk about this anyways, like as a podcast topic, is that women's college basketball is absolutely taking the world by motherfucking storm, rightfully so. It did at the end of last year.
Did it?
Yeah.
Who was like the big people last
Angel
year?
Reese and Caitlin Clark.
Oh.
Caitlin Clark just made it more of a thing this year, but they had a rivalry last year.
Gotcha.
Caitlin Clark was in the national championship last year against LSU and Angel Reese. Angel Reese won it. That's where the infamous boom happened. Oh. Yeah, that was last year's national championship. She's getting into sports.
Sad for Caitlin Clark. I've decided my entire life I've hated sports. Watching them, playing them, whatever. I think it's just because I hate men. Like, I don't want to watch men play sports.
Yeah.
And like,
shout out men.
The culture of male sports is so embarrassing to me.
I could not disagree more.
It's so embarrassing. Like, men are literally throwing temper tantrums over a basketball
I think it's
game.
very important to have something.
That's embarrassing.
I definitely think it's important to have something through the week that, like, you can, like, care about that isn't the awful part about life and money and this and that, and just being like, oh, there's some shit I'm really gonna care about.
Like,
is
maybe
my
just
team.
more men should go to therapy instead of watching a football game.
Disagree. Don't get me wrong. Well, more men should absolutely go to therapy, no doubt about it. But no, sports. Come on now, sports fandom is one of the best things on earth, and that's
like,
why
I get it. But like when you make that your entire personality too, it's just so weird to me.
I don't disagree, but it just depends on stuff. Where it's just like, because there's certain people, like, say, I'll take the Not Skinny Not Fat podcast, Amanda Hirsch, or Dumois, people like that, where that technically is their entire personality, is Kardashians, pop culture, yada yada.
Okay.
But they don't do it in an annoying way. You're like, oh,
exactly.
You're doing a good Barstool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the entirety of Barstool. There's people in the Barstool world that are insufferable, but
yeah,
people like Part of My Take, or I know you're not going to know some of these other ones, but like they have another podcast called Mostly Sports. People like Portnoy and shit like that. Like, I feel like you can have it both ways, where sports is your whole life, but you're not insufferable.
I guess.
And I think there are certain people that are insufferable. Same with like,
just like, why do men have to yell all the time, you know? But like when women are playing basketball, it's like hee hee.
You have not been watching the right shit though, because people been. That's where I said that.
But like, you can root for women. That's what I'm saying. I would rather watch 12 girls on a basketball court than 12 men who are sweaty with their gross fans screaming at them.
Which is fucking sick, and that's why it's so funny that out of all women's sports, I'd say at first, don't get me wrong, you have your fucking Williams sisters who are goats in their own right. You have the USA women's soccer team that did their thing, but like, I'm not gonna say those came and went, where like people's care about them came and went, but just like it happened, whatnot.
Yeah.
Women's fucking college basketball took the world by storm and actually made it like a thing. Like, oh, like literally the Final Four, I'm not going to say no one, because obviously, but by the ratings, way more people cared about the women's Final Four than men's. And rightfully so, because I posted a TikTok about it and got reamed in my comments about it. But I
personally, I can't name one college basketball player. Actually, one.
Who is it?
Donovan Clinging.
Boom. Shout out UConn. I'm really hoping they win on Monday,
Well, that's
honestly.
literally only because he's been to our office.
Yeah, and
was in a Skims campaign. Again, that's the only time I pay attention.
Yeah, but regardless, like, as someone who, like, I'm not like a but like an avid sports watch, like I can only name a couple people on UConn. Obviously, Zach Eady's, he's the big man on Purdue. Like, just certain players, but women's by far had more singular star power players from Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Haley Van Lith, Cameron Brink, Paige Buchers, and the list goes on. Like, and they just made it.
Who was the one girl tonight on North Carolina?
South Carolina.
Camilla. No.
Corona. They're
the
freshman. Fuck, I searched. Nah, she's gonna be a dog.
Gonna kill it.
She's gonna be a dog, 100%. And South Carolina was good as fuck. But going back to
South Carolina.
Yeah. But going back to that original point, like, it was so cool to watch that, like, these last 2 years, like, women's college basketball just fucking skyrocketing and becoming like we're actually like, literally me, Emma, and our two best friends out here, Caitlin and Brett, literally made a plan to go out and watch the Final Four of UConn versus Iowa, because like, it was like we need to go somewhere and watch this game because it's fucking sick. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to not give credit to people like Angel Reese, Paige Buchers, Cameron Brink, etc. But most of that's attributed to Caitlin Clark. And I think what she's done for women's sports is just
even
insane.
Their coach, North Carolina's coach,
South Carolina's coach.
Coach, like, saying that after they won was crazy.
Yeah, no, she's up there she's one of the only coaches to have 3 national championships, and they went undefeated. Like, obviously, all shout out to South Carolina. But going back to why I was sad today is because it was the Cinderella season for Caitlin Clark. I would have loved to have her win a championship, because this year alone she broke the record.
Pause for a second? You got it.
She always does that when I have a booger, and I appreciate it. But no, she broke the record for most points ever in D1 history, not just men's and women's, but just period.
Crazy.
Most 3-pointers in D1 history, most postseason points in women's history, just so many records. And again, she brought so many eyes to women's college basketball that I just wanted her to win a championship. And you had these old heads like Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, like
Why were they being so mean? Like, why can't you just be happy that the sport is gaining
I just think it's because
popularity?
I just think it's funny where when you look at it from a different perspective, I just think it's because they haven't seen this before. Like when newcomers come into the NBA now, when you have your Luka Doncic, your Zion Williamsons, your just like younger dudes come in and kill shit, there's not really a hate from old heads like that anymore.
No.
There might be comparisons like, oh, this dude's not going to be Michael Jordan.
But, like, I think that's almost a compliment. This guy, you're literally comparing somebody to Michael Jordan. That's crazy in itself.
But I think that, and that's because the NBA has dealt with that for so long, where there's a lot of tweets going on about it, where the greatest player, and this podcast knows, to ever grace an NBA court, LeBron James, was, when the documentary comes out, you'll see old videos of it.
Yeah.
His future teammates, like he was already going to the Cavaliers.
Okay.
People on the Cavaliers.
What state is that?
What?
What state is that?
Cleveland.
Okay.
Ohio, but Cleveland.
Yeah.
His future teammates were openly shitting on him in videos, being like, because they were old heads. They were like, I don't know who people think this dude is. Like, what? He's 18. Like, what do you? Blah blah blah.
Yeah. He's LeBron James.
No one knows who those people are anymore. He's LeBron fucking James. So, but the WNBA hasn't seen that, where like they haven't seen. Yeah, but you would
think in this time that like women would just be so supportive, because this is the first time this has happened. I think, like, you would think they would be like, "Fuck yeah, we're finally gaining some attention. I hope it's better for the new girls coming in than it was for us." So it's kind of like gross to see them so angry about somebody else's success. Especially in a male-dominant space.
Yeah, and I'm not. No, like, they're old head haters that are pissed that...
I'm, like, anti-men right now, I guess.
They're old head haters that are pissed. Well, none of the haters are men.
No, I know.
Oh, I was going to be like, they're all
I just keep bringing
women.
up, like...
But, no, they're all, in my opinion, mad that their game at the time, whether it is Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, et cetera, wasn't the one to bring the WNBA up. It got people talking about the WNBA because those players are very nice. But like Brianna Stewart, for example.
Can I see if I'm going to look up?
She went to UConn. She was a UConn star. I believe in the 4 years she was at UConn, I think she won 4 national championships. Because UConn women's basketball is one of the most dominant sporting teams of all time. But Brianna Stewart was on a UConn team with her starting 5 that would all end up being WNBA stars.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, Caitlin Clark, you need a championship to solidify yourself. Like, Caitlin Clark is on Iowa. And I mean this with all due respect to the rest of the roster. Caitlin Clark is the only one from that roster going to the WNBA.
You don't think, like, Gabby Marshall will be there? Really?
No.
What about the other...
Kate?
Martin?
Yeah. No. Because, I mean, even though people do like to slight the WNBA, it is like... You do need skill, and it's not obviously the biggest league yet, where it's like, so Caitlin's the only one who, and let's say if another Iowa, if Gabby Marshall or Kate Martin does go, they are going to be very low on the draft list. So my point with that is like all these people most of the people shitting on Caitlin Clark went to UConn. That's like that's the equivalent of an Alabama football player being like, you from Coastal Carolina University, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's just like, you're one of the most dominant organizations. Even Gino, the UConn's women coach, is saying Caitlin is the greatest of all time. Like, so I just thought it was very...
I have another question.
It's a disgusting look for these women.
Don't 1 second me.
I wasn't one. I was pointing to the cows now 1 second, but go on.
Who else do you think will go to the WNBA?
I think the draft is going to go... Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink.
Cameron Brink?
Stanford. She's dirty. Is
she on TikTok?
Probably.
Okay, wait.
Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, obviously Camilla from...
Oh, she's not on TikTok.
What was I going to say? Why can't I? From USC. There's one more I'm thinking of because Paige is staying another year at UConn, so it's not going to be her.
You don't think Angel Reese will be in the WNBA?
She was my 2.
Oh, sorry. I guess I blacked out.
Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink.
Okay.
I saw mock-up of this really quick, and I agreed with the mock-up completely.
Who is the really tall girl on?
Camilla. So yeah, I think it's going to be Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, Camilla Cardozo. I kept saying Cardozo. And then I don't know who's going to go 5, but because it was a picture of the 2020 class that came in, like they all were freshmen in 2020, is ridiculous. Like it's quite literally the class that will change women's college basketball, women's basketball forever. Like it's the stars, truthfully. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think that's going to be mostly who goes. And Paige is by far, unless she gets hurt, let's hope she does it next year. But she's just been very injury prone. That she'll be number 1 next year. Yeah. But no, regardless, that I'm just hype about. It made me sad that Caitlin lost, but she's going to go on to be a GOAT. And yeah, that was just kind of a sad ending.
How do you feel about people getting punched in the face in New York?
Oof. So
that was a horrible
transition. But I guess UConn, Connecticut, New York.
Sports, fine. Physical, punching.
Great. Yeah. We're here for it. One thing I do find not funny, but about the whole thing is every time I see someone
it's funny.
That's what. Just wait. I'm not everyone who has talked about this thing, whether it's on a podcast or whatever, they're all like, yo, have you seen this trend of like people getting punched in the face?
It's crazy.
The fact that word trend. Have you seen this trend? Like they're doing the renegade or they're doing whatever. Literally. But I think it's ridiculous. And
it's so crazy. The first one I saw was Hallie Kate.
I don't know any of the people who have gotten punched.
Blonde. Cute.
Sure. I actually am not on that side of TikTok right now. I've not seen any of the videos. Crazy.
You don't know who Hallie Kate is? In jazz, just Jazzy IDK.
Just Jazzy. No, I'm thinking of Jazzy Jeff. So no.
That's kind of weird.
But
I have big New York City influencers.
But I'm not on that side of TikTok. I have not actually seen one girl getting punched in the face video. I just know that it's being talked about a lot. I'm going to show you
what her face looked like.
But no, it makes me wonder.
They made an SNL thing after it.
Damn. It makes me wonder how many women are getting punched in the face in New York City because obviously not everybody's making a video of it and posting it to TikTok. So I'm like, how much of an epidemic is this of women getting punched in the face in New York City? And maybe let's stop the trend because like it's not a very flattering trend to say the least.
Oh, I'm sick.
What?
Speaking of Hallie Kate, she did a giveaway for Canon G7X, which I've been really, really wanting, but I like don't want to drop $1,000 on a camera. But
sort of like my mountain bike. I don't own a mountain bike, but I
would actually use the camera. You wouldn't use the mountain bike.
I would definitely use a mountain bike. Would it be very infrequent? I don't know, unfrequent, whatever. Not frequently. Yeah.
Yeah.
But would I use the mountain bike?
I would use my camera every day. Maybe.
I would vlog.
Hallie Kate did a giveaway for a Canon G7X and I didn't win. Never won a giveaway in my life.
I'm so certain that if you ask them to get you one for content purposes, they quite literally would.
Yeah, but I want it to be like mine.
Respect.
Which is like kind of stupid, but
yeah, because how often are you going to use that? Emma really wants to get into vlogging.
I do, because I think I'm funny.
I support.
Just kidding.
I support it 1,000%. I just want her to do it.
Like,
get it? Like where Mr. Beast was talking about it on a podcast recently, where she is his analogy, which I thought was perfect. Emma Chamberlain is your 7'4" NBA player, whereas it's like you have your certain people who don't have to have crazy talent.
What the fuck?
He was talking about how usually to be a successful content creator, you got to post hundreds of videos before one finally hits whatever.
I don't think that's true.
Maybe not hundreds, but it's not going to click like, and I'm talking about YouTube.
Okay.
I'm not talking about TikToks.
I think it depends on the platform.
Yeah, no, I'm talking strictly YouTube. And he's like, and he was talking about, he's like, you have your Liza Koshis and Emma Chamberlains who are your equivalent of like your 7'2" NBA player who doesn't really technically have to take the world by storm.
Yeah.
You're 7'2", you're going to be
successful.
Exactly. And Emma Chamberlain was just one that people loved your personality like that.
Well, I think Emma Chamberlain also came at a really weird time where like no one in the space was blowing up. Like they were all kind of OG YouTubers in a sense. This is what I remember, so like whatever. Like you had like Liza and David and all of them, and then this random girl comes up, she's editing in a completely different way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody's ever seen that kind of editing before, and she's actually funny in the way she's editing. Not actually, but she's funny in the way she's editing. So I think, like, people really took that style of editing, and that's what made her famous.
Yeah.
And then she elevated out of that into her, just her.
And, like, I feel like with content stuff, don't get me wrong, like, at a certain point, of course, like, you know, I mean, shit, we've even learned from the job we have. Like, of course, you're going to want to take advantage of stuff, monetize it, yada, yada, and just, like, make it a real job. But, like, I feel like if you just start doing, like, say, that's why I've always said, like, that I loved about this podcast. Does this podcast get crazy views?
No.
Absolutely fucking.
No.
Absolutely not. But it's made me so much more, like, I mean, I've always liked being in videos and having fun and, like, doing vlogs. I suck at editing them, but just doing them in general. But this being something that I do every week, taught, whatever, has made it so much easier to just be like, I don't give a shit. This is fun for me.
I also think, like, it's so silly, but, like, I didn't care about vlogging at home. It was a house. No one could hear me. Whereas, like, if I'm in the bedroom, you hear every word I'm saying.
But I wouldn't give a shit.
I know. No,
I know. That's why I'm saying, like,
but it's like,
do it up.
Hi, guys.
But the only thing, and, like, that's where I think, like, my opinion differs on it, is that, like, I don't give a shit about how everyone else is doing it. You don't want to sound quick because you can do it your own way.
Yeah.
I just know that, like, again, unless you're the very few that's able to make fucking coffee and talk about how you smell bad, like Emma Chamberlain, given she doesn't smell bad, but she started that rumor herself. Anywho, funny shit like that. You're gonna need, like, you know, collaborations, be around people, do fun shit, etc. My biggest thing.
I don't think you do though.
But it makes it more worthwhile to watch shit, like.
But, like, I don't agree with that. I think that's the different type of creators that you watch. True.
I don't disagree with that one, but, like, that's why I say if I'd want to vlog, I would be more nervous where, like, because in LA it's a huge thought of, and given our boss has always said, like, do it, like, who gives a fuck, do it, like, wherever.
Why
if
do you
we're
have to bring our boss into it?
They don't know who he is. Do it, yada yada, and I've
Cut
talked
that.
about it. What?
Cut that.
I've said his name on here before.
Okay.
Anywho, like, I would never want it to get misconstrued where it's just like, we're at a work event or we're around these cool people, yada yada, like, let me take my personal camera out and vlog, because that's just a bad look where you don't want to be, like, one of those people that essentially, as someone looks at it, like,
see, I would never make content like that though.
Yeah, and that's, like, just the different types of content. Yeah. Like, and I would never, like, for me, be around celebrity A with my camera and be like, hey, yo, I got the yada yada. But just, like, in general, like, say if, like, you're hanging around someone and, you know, you're just eating food, like, say if we're eating food, being like, getting this person in it, yada yada. You never want to be someone who, like, looks like you're just trying to use your job to do that shit, because then, like, that's a very quick way in this world to lose that fucking job, very quick, and that's not some shit you'd want. But
no, like, you know who Lauren Giraldo is?
Yeah, I've never watched her content.
Those are the types of, like, videos I like the most.
Yeah, I'd say, like, my ideal world would literally be, like, a Danny Duncan.
I have a question.
Answer.
If you could blow up on any platform, which one would it be?
YouTube. Yeah. 1,000,000%.
Me too.
Because, like, don't get me wrong, like, obviously I post longevity and just, like, longer form content. Where it's like, I wouldn't be out here posting a 30-minute video, but just, like, a longer video than a 60-second TikTok. Like, I feel like you can just do so much more fun shit with that and come up with more fun. My ideal thing that I would love to do, because it seems like they just took off the last couple years, is I would love to have, whether it's mildly or actually successful podcast, and just do live shows. Like, I even see
I could never do a live show.
Like, you have your juggernauts, like, canceled. You have your Call Her Daddy. You have Joe Rogan. People like that, like, people who are going to be able to sell out crazy crowds. But then you have certain people like one of Barstool's podcasts, Chicks in the Office, and very big in the Barstool world. But they're not doing these crazy huge venues. They're just doing, and they're doing good venues. Like, you're able to do it. But that would be so fun to just, like, do live podcast shows and just fuck around with whether it's your co-host or guest. That would be ideal, because I love talking in front of people and just shooting the shit.
That was a sick combo.
What? What'd you say?
Doesn't matter.
Well, see, this is what she does, where it's like, I was so in the middle of saying
A
something.
45-minute long sentence.
I was so in the
with
middle
no
of
breath. Did you breathe?
I was taking the time
Was
to
it
talk
through your
about
mouth
like
or your nose?
I was taking the time to talk
your
about
asshole?
a goal. I was taking the time to talk about a goal of mine, and what she'll do is,
You fully looked at me.
and then she'll go,
You.
and I'll be like, what?
I actually want you to play that back and see how it looked.
Cool.
And you'll feel really bad.
But
about
what
the
were
way
you saying before
ignored me.
that?
Doesn't matter.
And then she'll do this. Like, I don't think she knows that we're on a podcast too.
I don't
that like
care.
you should say what you were gonna say. But regardless, one thing that I was gonna bring
I love
up.
doing this.
One thing I was gonna bring up is, how do you feel about the random rise of Tara Yummy?
I've known who Tara Yummy is for a while. I wasn't like a huge fan, but I know she's friends with like the Kian and JC and like all of them. And there's a guy named David that they're friends with, not Dobrik, and he does videos and has like a ton of people come in, and she's been in a lot of those videos. So I've known who she is for a while, and I think she's very cute. And I think if she does it the right way, she'll be around for a while.
Yeah, I had no idea who she was, but I guess that she was a YouTuber beforehand, and she got big on TikTok with her sounds.
So her sounds from YouTube were getting clipped, and people were putting them on TikTok and then like putting edits together, and that's kind of how she blew up, I think. So like people were using her sound and then were like, what the fuck is that? Who is this?
Yeah, because I kind of just like randomly, boom, she comes on the scene, and then I knew what the Dropouts podcast was beforehand.
Yeah, but she wasn't on it. She's like new to the Dropouts podcast.
Because that whole drama with whatever that Indiana girl is with, what's his name? Zach, and he's actually funny.
Yeah. Who's the other guy on the podcast too?
His guy, the producer.
Yeah,
I don't know his name,
he's
but
funny too.
Yeah,
he'll
they have like
say
a
a little
good
one-liner.
Yeah, they have a really good back and forth. And so I knew what the podcast was, but then I boom see her on that, and then I'm just getting fed those clips. And I'm
I
like,
also think
who
what
is this
happened
girl?
is she like broke up with her boyfriend, so that kind of not like people were so interested in the drama there, but also like you don't see a lot of famous or people getting famous and being able to go back and watch their YouTube videos, whereas like people are just starting to love her more and more and more because they're finding out her personality along with the videos she created previously.
Yeah, like
So she doesn't have to keep up with the content.
no.
It's already there.
Yeah. And she can just make it whenever she wants now.
Right.
And now she's on a podcast that she doesn't have to shoot, edit, whatever.
Yeah.
She can just like go in and talk, which is lit. But it felt like it was such perfect timing. Where, and again, she clearly has been making content beforehand, but like she now starts to blow up. And then like I saw it again where she had like some big party for hitting 1 million followers. And then like that became a thing. And like, you know, you saw certain, like it became like,
she's like a party girl.
Yeah. And
like,
I never knew
that's her
that.
like image.
Because I didn't know anything. Like I definitely know
Yeah.
that she's kind of like grunge.
Yeah, I think what I could be wrong, but I think she says she's like a mixture between Paris Hilton and Avril Lavigne. I think those are the two people.
Respect. And she loves
like,
Tana Mojo.
Yeah. But doesn't that make sense?
Yeah. And she again, I've never watched any of her YouTube videos, but from the podcast clip, it seems like she's cool. Like she's not
I feel like she's very normal.
She doesn't seem too cool for school type of deal. Like she's not like too prissy and like, she'll talk about like whatever the fuck she talks about. So no, I thought that was cool that like just seeing how random ways the internet can blow you up. Where
it's also cool to see somebody who's like really genuinely worked so hard at it and like is finally getting like
her flowers. Yeah.
So I don't know. I love to see somebody who's kind of an underdog in that situation blow up the way they deserve.
Yeah, and I like to see like the two different ways that happens. Where it's like you have a Alex Earl who just like boom blows up, and she had followers beforehand,
but it wasn't anything crazy.
Blew up super quick, becomes
also,
Alex
I
Earl.
Think making a TikTok is so different than making a YouTube video in my eyes. Like
100%.
A TikTok, I mean, I throw up fucking 4 different random ass TikTok videos and it takes me 2 seconds. Obviously, I know if you're trying to make a career out of it, it's a little different. But like YouTube videos, if you're editing that shit, like you are taking hours and hours and hours and hours out of your days to like actually create the content because you're passionate about it. Nobody's on YouTube because they're not passionate about it.
And then throwing it together.
Right.
Yeah. I will say I so miss David Dobrik on YouTube.
I know.
I really, really do. Oh, we made a TikTok about it. And how do you feel about J-Lo just being super phony?
I think it's funny.
Yeah. I don't really care enough about it.
Yeah.
I just think it's hilarious that like
it's like
after,
me and you pretending we're from New York.
Like New York City, yeah. And I make sure to tell everybody when I say I'm from New York, I say
from
upstate. I
Like,
always say upstate. Because I'm not from New York City, and I made sure everybody knows that. But no, she is trying so hard, like, to make people think that she hasn't been rich as shit for 30 years. Like, you have no more Bronx left in you. None.
No, I agree.
You know who does? You know who's pretty rich right now? Not J-Lo rich, obviously. But does have Bronx in them that you could take a page out of her book.
Cardi B.
Fucking Ice Spice or Cardi B. Either or. Ice Spice or Cardi B. Like, they scream
Cardi B
New
is
York.
from the Bronx, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they scream New York. And Cardi B is stupid rich. So, like,
yeah.
And she still has that.
But
So,
I also think that it's not a problem that she isn't repping the Bronx anymore. It's the fact that she's, like, faking, too.
Yeah. Because no, if she never repped the Bronx or talked about home,
a lot of celebrities don't.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, if I would still be like, J-Lo, you're a little bit fake for that, because I think that about every major celebrity that never wants to talk about home. It's just like, you're a little bit corny.
Yeah.
But J-Lo going, yeah, from the bodega, blah blah blah. I'm like, you're a weirdo. You haven't stepped foot in a bodega since you were 12
years.
Like you are quite literally remarried basically to Ben Affleck. You guys just bought an $80 million house in Bel Air. Like,
crazy.
Don't talk about the bodega. So I just think she's so goofy for that.
Yeah.
But something that I don't know if you'll know who these two people are.
Pee really quick.
Yeah.
But bring up your next topic.
Is the beef between Future and Kendrick Lamar.
You talk about that. I have no idea what that is.
Drake and J. Cole. So, well, Emma goes to the bathroom. We're going to talk about the latest rap beef that has been going on that makes me very, very sad. And I still don't know necessarily what to make of it, but essentially it's Future and Kendrick Lamar and Metro Boomin versus Drake and J. Cole, because Future came out with his album with Metro Boomin called We Don't Trust You, and it's Future Metro Boomin. Obviously the album was fire, but in one of his songs, Kendrick Lamar was on the song, and Kendrick Lamar sent hella shots at Drake and J. Cole, talking about fuck the big three, it's just big me, talking about for all the dogs, all crazy stuff. And it was more of like a warning shot. It wasn't Pusha T Drake level beef, but you know, that ignited stuff, and then the internet went crazy for it. Supposedly the internet sleuths went, and I guess Future kind of threw a couple shots at one point, and then J. Cole just shot back at Kendrick Lamar a little bit, and he just dropped a surprise album, and his one song, 7 minutes, the album's called Might Delete Later, his one album, wow, I can't talk. J. Cole's one song, 7 minutes on the album, throw shots at Kendrick, talking about, you know, you average one fire verse every 30 months or something. You know, your music puts people to sleep, all this type of stuff. And it's just tough to see, because I am a huge Future fan. And I love Kendrick Lamar. But I'm not siding against Drake. I'm not doing it. Drake is the GOAT. I don't care what you say. Drake's not one that I can side against, no matter how good the bars are against him. Like, I even think Pusha T, because of the Adonis thing, ended up winning their rap beef, because, I mean, he exposed that Drake had a child. But I'm not siding against Drake, and it just sucks that it had to be Future to start the beef. Honestly, if it was Drake versus Kendrick, is Kendrick a GOAT too? Yes, but like, I wouldn't care as much, because like, if we're being completely honest, like, I don't really be bumping Kendrick like that. I just don't. And maybe people on the West Coast, sure. I don't really know too many people that do. Don't get me wrong. Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly. I'm not at all downplaying the absolutely amazing music and bars that Kendrick Lamar has, like, came out with. But if it comes to siding against Future or Drake, it's just 100% Drake. That's just what it's going to be the entire time. So I'm just waiting for Drake's comeback. We don't know what it's going to be yet. Obviously, J. Cole was the first out of the duo to send shots. So I guess we're going to have to see what comes next. But I think Drake's going to go crazy. I really do. So he's got to send some shit back. So
Drake's about to go dummy for real.
Drake's honestly going to go a dummy boy.
Okay. I have a question.
Answer.
What are your icks about me?
Oh,
sorry.
Icks about you. I'm trying to think because like I wouldn't necessarily say like your messiness is an ick. Okay. Like I wouldn't categorize it as an ick, but something that like I wish you weren't as messy. Okay. So like I guess we could say that.
That's not changing.
What?
So that's not changing.
Yeah, that's not changing. I'm trying to think like an actual like ick, because like right, I know that like, you know, an ick would be like, oh, he has a American flag thing in his room, shit like that. But I'm trying to think of like an ick with you. I'd have to what about you with me?
I know. Maybe when you pick your beard.
Okay. That's a tick for me.
It's an ick tick.
It's an ick tick. I started doing that instead of biting my nails.
You do both.
I still kind of bite my nails a little bit, yeah. Yeah, my nails are not stellar right now. I used to be way worse at biting my nails, then I started picking my beard. So now it's like the nails aren't as
it's
bad.
Like a double whammy.
Yeah, they still get bit. Don't you worry. But you know, it's what people do. It's what people do when they're stressed out sometimes. At least I'm not, you know, smoking crack.
Yeah, that's fair.
When I'm stressed or something like that.
You don't have any more about me?
I'm just trying to think of like...
Or like what's something you don't like that I do?
Something
doesn't necessarily have to be an ick.
Something you do that I don't like. Oh, sort of like what just happened. Like how flustered you get and then just like don't continue a conversation.
Yeah, I don't care. That's not changing either.
That's fine. But that's just something I
don't
like
that you don't listen to me 99% of the time.
I don't think it's 99% of the time. And I don't think I don't listen to you. I just think I'm really bad at like tuning in to more than one thing. And then when I am interested in it.
I just do want to point out that you fully made eye contact with me and then looked back at the camera and started talking.
Well, because it was so quick. It wasn't because I was like...
Wait, what'd you say?
It's not like in the back of my head I'm like, oh, Emma's talking. No. It's just like, oh, shit.
It comes off disrespectful.
I have my mind on one thing. And then, boom, happens. And then, like, later, I'm interested in it. Because then I'm like, oh, wait, what did you say? But you get so quick to be like,
well, you take like 45 minutes to finish your thought. Anyway.
No, that was just...
I would also say the way you could eat the same meal the entire... Like, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week for like 7 months.
I absolutely could do that.
Yeah, that drives me crazy.
I could be a creature of habit.
Because I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah. I
even switch up like my coffee sometimes. Like...
Yeah. I'm a big loving to eat the same thing, especially if it's like I know that it's like relatively healthy, because I'm like, okay, I found one thing that's relatively healthy and it tastes good. I can stick with it for a minute and not have to switch it up. Honestly.
Yeah.
Anything else on your list?
No.
That was it?
I think so.
Ick and punch in the face was all you had?
Yeah.
She was sitting there for like 20 minutes.
And wait, can I also tell you something?
List. What?
I took punch in the face off your list. I fully read it upside down.
So you just had ick.
Yep.
That was it. That entire time that I was like, talk about any, like, you know, come up with stuff you want to talk about.
I put down how we met. I put basketball.
Boom. Tell the story about how we met.
About me. And then I keep seeing this thing on Twitter, Kelsey Plum eating popcorn.
Oh my God. Major ick. So that's another thing too, where I'll say...
That was a good topic, huh?
Yeah, okay. Where I'll say, you actually thank God you don't have friends like this /
You're thinking, God, I don't have friends like this?
No. Like, where it's like, you've never came up to me and been like, my friend A, whether it is Caitlin Sierra, Caitlin Shaw, whatever. You've never been like, oh my God, this person's so, like, they're the funniest person ever, yada, yada. Like, the Kelsey Plum, did you see the video of her?
Yeah.
That is the most major ick ever.
I agree.
When girls, and I know this is going to sound awful coming from a guy, but like certain girls will be like, no, I'm so funny, you couldn't even. And they're literally like, there was a Twitter meme before this Kelsey Plum thing of this woman in a grocery store
Oh my God.
who had just bought I don't know what it was, but she put something on her head and balanced it. And this was obviously years ago, but her friend posted it, and her friend captioned it like, LMAO, my friends are so crazy and funny, I love them. And I'm just like, that's the most major ick ever when you do the most unfunny, think you're crazy shit.
I saw somebody say, this is the type of girl that would write on her Tinder profile, I bet I'm funnier than you.
Case in point, exactly. And so I can't say, and thank God you've never came to me like, no, Caitlin is so fucking funny and does some
I'm funny.
unfunny shit.
Actually, I would say Sierra is probably my funniest friend. Who would you say your funniest friend is? Like, Sierra's actually so funny.
Yeah, no, Sierra's funny. I'll give you that.
I'll give you that.
My funniest friend. Oh, probably Matthias.
Yeah.
Matthias is
I agree.
Absolutely hilarious. Just like,
but he's also just like out of pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'd say like other times that I think Danny's really funny.
Yeah.
Aussie, just again with very out of pocket. I can't say the certain things on this podcast, but
I think all my friends have funny moments.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think like Sierra's funny as fuck.
Yeah, no, Sierra's funny.
Yeah. But like all of my friends have funny moments for sure.
Yeah.
But it's usually like, it's not like them cracking jokes. It's like them doing such stupid fucking shit that we all just make fun of.
Yeah, like mine would be 50-50 where it's like I do think, and obviously but I do think my friends are genuinely fucking hilarious. Like
I actually agree. I think your friends are funny.
Like say Pete is more of the situations that he gets himself in, and then we talk about them.
Yeah, like stupid shit.
His
and then
life is
makes
just
fun
funny.
Of them.
Matthias is more how he explains things and when he tells a story, it's just hilarious. Like Nate, it's the back and forth we have of just like hating each other, but we don't actually hate. We just hate on each other for like a bit, and it's hilarious. And Danny, I think, just is just funny, and Aussie's just out of pocket. But yeah, I know I'm not gonna name every single friend, but no.
Do you have anybody else you want to dick suck or no?
Brett is hilarious at his dad jokes. He's awesome with it. Okay. But no, do you want to tell the story of how we met?
Let's do it from both of our perspectives.
Me to go first? You? Me?
Yeah.
All right. So we're in Broome Community College, and we had an English, some sort of
I don't think it was English
communications class of some sort. I don't public speaking. Who knows?
God, it was never public speaking. It would never take
one of those types of classes. And I get in class, and it's like a weird, like you're sitting in like a U, and
that class
the teacher
was very strange.
Yeah, and like the teacher was up here, and I'm sitting on this side, and right across the class from me was Emma, and
this gorgeous angel of a human being. Like
looked at her, and I'm like, wow, like she's super pretty. I know.
Pretty. But also looking back, I was so fugly at the time.
So was I. But I knew who she was already because she's so
gorgeous.
Because she's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I had gone to school with Emma's stepsister, Kiko, from...
Just call her my sister.
Emma's sister, Kiko, from kindergarten. And I've been in, like, the same friend groups. Like, I've known Kiko for literally just about my whole life. Yeah. And so I knew who Emma was because I knew Kiko had a sister that went to UE. And, like, had I ever spoken to her, been in the same places as her? No, except there's 2. But
I'm sure there was more, but 2 that we know
2 that we remember. But I just didn't know. We had never talked before. But so I knew who she was before class grade. There had been like a couple times, and let me preface this with this is still the point in my life of just getting over being fat and never getting any girls. And so I did not know how to talk to girls. I had still don't, but had no riz, nothing. So I had
this is true.
No clue on like, okay, how do you approach this? Like, you're not just going to flat out go and be like, hey, I like you, yada, yada. So I was like, all right, let me just take like different approaches to this. And so every once in a while, like we'd initially meet and...
I also knew the person you sat next to.
You did know that.
Like, not very well at all, but like...
Chuck, right?
Yeah. But like,
shout out
I
Chuck.
knew him.
Yeah. And so
at the time.
So with that in class, like I would like, you know, you get paired up with stuff, you get in groups of 3, 4, whatever. Like I would always try to like, okay, damn, like I want to be in her group. Like how we're gonna make it happen. Maybe we'll just have
it also worked out because it was typically groups of 4, and I was sitting next to a girl that I had worked with.
Yeah.
So I knew her. Her name was Gina. Shout out Gina. And then you were sitting next to Chuck. So like groups of 4, it was easy because we both had people. Chuck and I kind of knew each other, so it just worked.
Oh, and let me actually preface it with this actually came beforehand, before we ever like paired up in groups and shit like that.
Yeah.
Again, me not knowing how to talk to women at all, I DM'd Emma on Instagram, and I was like, we have Professor Skinner's class together, right? Shout out Professor Skinner, great dude. And she just comments back, duh. And I was like, okay, cool. Because, right,
I'm funny.
she could have been like, YA, or just like, yeah. And but I was like, her saying duh, I was like, okay, cool. Like, she's
funny.
cool, funny. Like, we can actually, like,
she slays.
It wasn't dull. So I was like, okay, cool. So that got us DMing every once in a while, whatever. And then in class, we got to work together. Anywho, I was like, all right, like, I'm not in any of the, we're not going to see each other literally other than this hour period ever. So like, let me just try to get, because she seemed dope. So like, let me just try to get as much conversation as we can. Like, and there's like 2 parking lots basically in the campus in general where you like just 2 big parking lots where you could park. And like one day, like, you know, we're walking away from class, she goes right, I go left. I'm like, all right, bye. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I want to be able to talk to her for more time. I'm going to park in this parking lot now. And then that went into like,
wait, I didn't know that.
And then I get like 30 more seconds to talk with her and like shit like that. And then that just like snowball affected into like.
It also worked because it was the last class of both of our days.
Yeah. So we just got to walk home. And then that snowballed into, hey, like, I remember I think the first time we ever hung out was there was like a project due. And I was like, do you want to come over and work on it? She was like, yeah. And it wasn't one of those like nothing happened, whatever. Like literally just went over. She came over.
Did we end up working on the project?
No.
Like, I don't think we did.
Which sounds so bad. Like, no, we didn't work on the project.
Hung out.
But literally just hung out, watched, I think YouTube videos, and just chilled out. I think we worked on the project for like 10 minutes. I don't remember.
I wasn't like the very shootiest girl.
She was messaging me back to get answers and stuff, and then that.
Like genuinely.
Yeah, and then that.
Because I didn't ever do my homework. Also, that class was typically the only class I would show up to that day. And I had like 2 other classes.
Yeah. And then, you know, that snowballed into mustered up the courage to be like, hey, you want to go get lunch or something like that? We went to Chipotle one day. Like, and then we went to. I
can't stop yawning.
You're good. And then we went to Sonic another day because there was a Sonic right near our community college.
You needed to go get your oil changed as well.
And you sat with me through that. So, like, so I was like, okay, like, we're hanging out a little bit more. Like.
But it was definitely like very friendship vibes
Absolutely.
At first. I knew you definitely had like a little crushing on me.
Word.
But it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go hook up with this guy and like dip. Like we were genuinely hanging out.
I was like 5th on her roster at that point. So I was like, how can we move up to like?
Don't say that's not true.
I was like, how can I move up to be like starting pitcher, not like
but I
down.
liked that we were actually genuinely hanging out as like 2 human beings.
Yeah, we were friends before.
It didn't seem like you wanted to just like have sex and then never speak to me.
Well, because that was like, I was more, and again, it's not like again, me being fat and like the funny one in school. It's not like I was running through people and like, you know, had my, so I was always just like, oh, I just want to be able to like be friends with someone. And then like, if like, even on a friendship level, I was like, oh, if this person's a dub, then like, whatever. Fuck that. So I was like, no, I want to be friends first. And then obviously like we struck up a friendship first for probably like a month and a half ish of being friends. And then,
but like, mind you, I always knew you liked me. It's not like, it's not like we were just hanging out as friends. Like, I knew you had feelings for me, and I knew you, not feelings, but like, I knew you wanted to get to know me in not a friendship way. Mm-hmm. So it was like, I can either never speak to this guy again, because that's like mean to do, you know, or I could give him a chance and like see where it goes.
And look where it went.
I'm miserable. I'm just kidding.
That's mean.
I'm kidding.
So what's from your point of view?
I mean, I would agree. I don't want to like retell the story, but yeah, you followed me around, expected me to hang out.
Yeah, like that happened.
I folded. We hung out, and I liked you. We sat at Chipotle for like 4 hours. I did pay for my own bowl. I want to put that on the record.
She did pay for her own bowl,
which is like rude. And also, you know, like, I don't know if anybody else does this, but like if I don't want to pay for my own bowl, I'm not going first in the line, because whoever's at that register first, they're paying.
You went first, right?
No.
Really?
No.
I don't remember. I mean, it was long ago. I don't remember it in the slightest.
No, I remember.
I'm a scumbag. Damn.
Yeah. He went first, and I was like, sick. Free Chipotle. Nope.
Bitch is paying for her own Chipotle. Nah,
That's
I don't even remember that.
Okay, but like, say that happened now, I would literally never talk to you again.
No, that would be
crazy.
crazy.
So crazy.
And rightfully so. Like, I actually legitimately, and I can't even deny it. Like, clearly but it makes me be like, why? Like, I'm thinking
like,
to
just
myself.
pay for my
No, I'm thinking back to
food.
myself. Like, wait, why would I?
Like, you're lucky I didn't just leave.
Yeah, but I don't even remember why I wouldn't
Just
have
saying.
paid. Maybe I was, you know what? City boy shit. I was like, you know what? Like, maybe she, like, I can't come up
I just
too.
don't think you were thinking.
I can't come up too desperate. Like, she's paying for her own Chipotle. It absolutely was just me not thinking and being like, because again, like, I never let you pay for meals now. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we'll go back and forth.
I did buy my own Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks. But no, so then that blossomed into a beautiful relationship that went from Binghamton to a very, very short stint in New York City. Very short stint in New York City. Syracuse.
That's an even shorter stint.
Even shorter stint. And then
me.
deciding, wow, two cities that are relatively close driving to our
But
town.
I think we needed that.
No, but it's just funny to agree.
Yeah.
But it's just funny to be like, oh, like, New York City was probably like a 3-hour drive, Syracuse 45 minutes. These two didn't work out, and our solution was, let's move across the country. And it worked out.
I think we needed that push. I know, like, not to be an asshole, but you were definitely very coddled. So was I.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still lived with my parents. You didn't, but like, you had that safety net of going home. And I lived at home, and
You did too, though.
I just said I lived at home.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
you.
no.
Okay.
We were in the same boat. We were very comfortable where we were, but I also knew, like, I wanted to have more experiences in my life than
Respect.
to just stay and do nothing. Like, I wanted to see what was out there, but I also knew if I was able to drive home every week, I would.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it definitely pushed both of us to grow up in a lot of ways we didn't think we would.
Yeah, and like I'm someone that if I wanted to live home until I was 30,
You could have.
I probably could have.
I mean, same though.
Because my mom would be okay with that. Shout out, Mom, love you. But no, because I remember like everyone thinks that, at least people that know us, figured that like because of like what happened in my life before moving to LA, they figured like I was the one that was like, oh, we're moving to LA. I wasn't with it at first. I was just like, no, I wasn't like, no.
You never
but I was
showed
like,
me that you weren't really with it though. I think I was just so excited to do it that you didn't want to tell me no.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was never like against it.
Yeah.
Nothing like that, but I just definitely wasn't the one who was pushing for it. And then Emma was like, we need to do something here. Like, we just need to move.
Yeah,
I don't know where it is.
At a daycare. You had an internship.
Basically, shout out Annie Energy.
Oh, well, you worked for Annie Energy, but you also had that internship. You were making $2 an hour.
No money, yeah.
Yeah, I was making $1 an hour. I was like, this cannot be what the rest of our life looks like. We both don't have a college degree. I was like, if anything's going to happen.
We both dropped out.
Yeah, I was like, if anything's going to happen, it's not going to be here. So, like, you have this sliver of an opportunity. You might as well go for it. And if you don't, you'll regret it for the rest of your life.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
For the most part so far.
I mean, could you imagine if you stayed home, worked for Annie Energy, you would have, they obviously went under. You wouldn't have gotten any other job.
Nothing. And I was just talking about this with Emma in the car, and like we differ with this obviously, which is fine, but it's just like I realize that I'm at this point in my life like not I don't know if the word not meant to do it is right, but just like I don't want to stick to the same schedule and like be in the same place and not have like any excitement with shit. And don't get me wrong, like again, as people who work 9 to 5 and love their 9 to 5,
I mean, you
that's
technically
sick.
work a 9 to 5.
Kind of, but it's just definitely so different. And like, and don't get me wrong, there's certain 9 to 5 jobs that people make millions of dollars a year on. So there's absolutely no stigma around that, but more the industry we work in the LA life, it's so much of like your week will literally change every single week. And that doesn't mean maybe hours you work, but you go to an event, you do this, you stay home, the people you work for are traveling, whatever it may be.
Every week, but definitely like often. But I don't really love that aspect.
No, yeah, I know you don't.
I think also coming to LA has made me less judgmental and like I don't think you're a fucking loser if you stay in your hometown, you know? Like I get
never
it.
thought that.
Well, I definitely used to have that perspective of like, oh, you're doing nothing with your life. I think people just have different priorities.
And I just think it's different because, like, say on that, like, I never thought, because I have friends who have stayed in my hometown and never left and never will leave, and they're going to do just fine for themselves, and they're doing really good. I never thought that staying in your hometown meant you were a loser or you weren't doing good. Absolutely not. I just knew that, like, I wanted to do so much, maybe not more, but just so many different things from, like, you know, the shit that, like, LA has.
You just scared me. I thought somebody was.
Oh, like whether I don't know if taught me is the right word, but like I love like it's attainable and not even be a millionaire, but to be able to like do certain things in your life that like I watched on TV growing up, like going to a set, going on a hike and then getting a fucking smoothie, going to this, going to that, whatever it may be, like shit that I'd watch in Entourage or fucking any other shit that took place in LA, like. I can legitimately like do some of these things now. I just think it's so cool, like the way this industry works and like how you can get from point A to B just off of like, you know, you met the right person, you showed that person you're an asset, boom. Here, like at home, it's definitely go to school, get your degree, you're gonna work here for 5 years. But I don't
think either of those things are wrong.
Absolutely not.
But like I definitely used to, like when I lived at home, I definitely used to project like my feelings about myself onto like a group of people that lived there, or like everyone that lived there, just because I was going down a path that I didn't personally want to go down. I was like, oh, everyone who's actually going to stay in that path is a loser, which I don't think is true anymore.
No. And like my dream always was like, because I love our hometown, but I definitely knew very quickly that like I want to be able to have a very nice life in my hometown. And what I mean by that is like be well off enough where I can just quite literally enjoy my hometown like I did when I was in like high school, meaning like, oh, I actually really don't have to worry about, you know, the bills coming and being paid this week or this and that. I can go and do the fun things that I like about my hometown, i.e. like have something successful already. I don't mean fucking like, yeah, I own fucking IBM, but like have something going where I can actually do that. But then I quickly learned like, oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to like take the time building that or like doing some shit in my hometown because it just was never going to work. Like, or it would take 40 years. Yeah, I don't
think anything that we're doing would work there.
Well, or just like, but again, like sort of like what we were talking about, like say if I did want to do real estate or be an accountant or whatever,
it'd just be on a smaller scale.
And it's going to take 30, 40 years to like get to a certain point of like, oh, now I can actually just relax and enjoy like hometown like fun shit.
A lot of everything.
Yeah, but I just think it's so different out here. Like there's certain people.
No, I agree.
Yeah, like there's certain people I've met out here that like they've been doing some shit. And don't get me wrong, not everyone's trajectory is the same, but they've been doing shit out here for 4 years. And I don't even mean influencers. I'm talking behind the scenes people and stuff like that. But like they've been doing certain jobs or been whatever, doing stuff for 4 or 5 years. And they have money that like in my hometown, you'd be very, very, very well off.
Yeah.
In my hometown. And I was just like,
I mean, we could afford a house there.
No, we couldn't.
Yeah, we could.
A house.
Are you kidding?
A 1 floor.
That's not true.
I mean, rent. I'd like to own some shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Houses are hundreds of thousands of dollars.
In our hometown?
Yes.
You're bugging, bro. Look it up.
Literally,
You mortgage it. My mom pays the same amount on a mortgage than we do in rent, and her house is fucking 4 stories.
True. I would just, sometimes I guess the mortgage thing comes in and changes it. But I don't know. I just like the LA lifestyle.
Do you think people are just fucking buying houses like that? No.
I'd like to.
People mortgage a house to obtain
No, I understand
credits.
that. I'm just saying, like, I'd like to. I have goals that I'd like to attain for myself at some point.
That,
but no, LA lifestyle has been fun as shit, and I'm just excited to continue. Just like
look at that.
Sweat.
No.
Oh, just the mark in the couch.
The footprint.
Oh, shout out to Amelia Footwear. Just I like the lifestyle out here and just like being able to see all the cool shit work wise and seeing where it'll take us in the future because I think it's
a serious
sick.
question.
What?
Canes or no?
Is it gonna ruin your vibe?
For what?
Your chicken cutlet.
No.
So we'll go get Canes.
On you?
Yeah. I can't. So we're gonna go get Canes. I thought that was
your last one.
What?
Is that the last one?
I thought that was an awesome 33rd episode. Shout out 33. Shout out my lovely girlfriend, Miss Emma Graham, for being your guest number. So I had Christian, J-Rod, Markel, and Jamie.
That was disgusting.
So shout out, you're technically my lucky number 7th guest.
Yay! That's so fun.
Thank you so much. And
rank your guests. I'm just kidding.
Emma.
I'm just kidding.
Shout out to that. But obviously, as I always say...
Wait, did you count Lauren and Meg too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, as I always say, we don't have 1 million viewers. We don't even have 1,000 viewers. But whoever the fuck does view, shout out to that. I just like doing this shit. Hopefully, we'll get more fun guests.
Wait, if you make me a reel, I'll post it.
Bet. I mean, I will, obviously. And...
Just me.
Bet. And, it's just fun, and I can't wait for more shit, and I just like coming in here and doing my thing. So, until next time, peace.